Hello, good evening, and a very, very warm welcome to Rangers Radio. Joining myself Southside on the show this evening is AK and the legend, the Bridgeman. How are you, gentlemen?
Evening, Southside. Evening, Bridgeman.
I'm going to say to Southside, good evening to yourself and the guys in the background there, Alex Kelly, and to all the Rangers fans all over the world that are listening in. Good evening, Rangers Radio.
Hi, how are you, AK?
I'm doing fine, mate. Doing fine. I'm in holiday mode now, pal. Lanzarote bound on Sunday, so looking forward to that. But first of all, we'll get a Rangers game up tomorrow.
I'm sure Lanzarote will be looking forward to that. You up here in Abridge?
The Totty.
I think he's going to be mildly surprised.
The local notice some that'll be sure. I'll tell you what, we'll obviously build up to the game tomorrow against Livingston, but I've not heard any of your thoughts, and I didn't have any myself since Wednesday. So, Alex, what did you think performance in that on Wednesday?
The first quarter an hour, 20 minutes, I thought we played really well. We came out the traps. The crowd were right behind us. Everything was going great. Everything was upbeat, and then it kind of went flat a wee bit for me. Obviously, Lammers missing that sitter to go 3-0 was a big change in the game, so early in the game. Obviously, Servette dug in, they stay in the game. They got a penalty just before half-time, seemed to deflate the crowd a wee bit. But then they go down to 10 men, and we've got a chance here to take the impetus and maybe go for a three, a third or a fourth. And it didn't really seem to happen. It was like turgid performance. The tempo dropped to it, but see, at the end of the day, a win is a win in Europe. We go over there. It's going to be difficult. I've no doubt about that. But this tie's very much 50-50 for me now.
It's European night. I know they're qualifiers, but they're qualifiers for the Champions League, Bridgeman, and. I think for what we'd seen them playing against Genk, you knew what Alex was saying, they'd be quite tough and we stay in the game and dig in. So I know they had a few injuries and a couple of one suspension, but I still thought we let them away from Ibrox very lightly. I thought we should have took more off them on the night.
Yeah, 100% on that. Both of you are absolutely correct there. I think the first 20 minutes was absolutely tremendous for Rangers. Played some really good football. One-touch stuff was tremendous. The only problem I've got with my Rangers team at the moment is that when we give the ball away, we just kind of get it back again, and it ends up somewhere around about our 18-yard line, and maybe a good challenge at a last minute, before we actually catch the person. So the pace, where we lose out the game, a lot of that's today with having to chase back after losing the ball so meekly up there. But some of the guys played superb, and I'm really looking forward to us going through against that team, because that team in the second half were absolute. Even when they got to 10 men, they were brilliant footballers. Their passing was tremendous, and I've said this about other teams we played in the Europa League. They're really good footballers and really good passers of the ball, and it's great to watch because I like to see it. But we did that in the first 20 minutes, and then we died. That's what it looked like. We just seemed to die, and we only got that back in spurts, and it's a pity. It's a pity.
I think, like you're saying, I think the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I thought we were all right. Aye, probably because it started the season, Bridge, and maybe fitness isn't there. You can't go for the full 45, and I think we slightly dropped off pace. I thought we showed nice bits of football, Alex. I thought there was some nice one-touch stuff. I think you're right. If Lammer scores and we go 3 up, I think it would have been more on the night. But second half, I thought we created a few chances, but still think there's a wee bit disjointed at times where players are still trying to form relationships and see just to know each other on the park. And I think a couple of times you seen them make a run and then check out, and then we played that ball and it looked like it was a bad pass. But I just think it's just about learning and working with the players and just getting that formation right and understanding.
Aye, no, listen, we've seen it before, you know, but you're right, it's building up relationships. But for me, missed opportunity written all over it. See, when a team's down to 10 men, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've seen the Servette mob in action when they went down to 10 men away to Genk. They dug in. I knew they were resolute. That's the way they play. They're very well organised. They've got some clever players. I picked out a couple of them. The wee midfielder, number 8, Cognac. I thought he was exceptional for them again. He's their ball player, their danger man. Dublin put the foot in, as I thought he would, but he gets sent off this time. We should have took advantage of that. Don't get me wrong, the keeper made a couple of decent saves off of Dessers and who's our one? Shot-wise.
Lammers.
Aye. Made a couple of really decent saves there, to be fair to him. But for me, I thought Beale dwelled a wee bit. As soon as they get down to 10 men, we need to take advantage of that. You know, what's the point of having Jack on the park then? You know, go for a positive switch. He takes off, I think it was Dessers, or Danilo, sorry, and then he puts on Cifuentes. You know, that striker for a midfield when we're looking to score. I thought that was a wee bit negative. He's putting on Hadji and Wright with 2 minutes to go. They're not going to have an effect in the game. Make any changes, you know, with half an hour to go and give the guys a chance to bed into the game. But it's going to be difficult out there, pal. The temperature in Europe now is pretty high, you know, so we've got that to contend with as well. But it's down to the players now, isn't it?
Yeah, the players got us into this position. We're looking for more goals, definitely, on the night, Bridge. Just even getting down to the 10 men. I thought we might have took advantage, but it is what it is. And I think when we get across there on Tuesday night, I think we'll need to score.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. There's no doubt about that. We've got to either go out and score, or if we can, and we've got to be resolute in defence and give nothing away. And I thought once again, Borna was pretty good the other night on the left wing, as long as he was tramping down and attacking. And when it converts to defending, we know he's not the smartest. But him and Tab, they did their best in it. And I'm quite happy with it. I think difficult to surmise too much, in my opinion. I think we should have scored at least one more goal and probably two, and we would have deserved those goals. We're the only people you've got to blame for it is ourselves. There's nobody else. And when you look at the team at the end up, you think to yourself, where is all these 9 players that we signed? Where are they? And it didn't look as if we had 9 players on the park at times. The other night, seriously. So there's something no right. They're obviously no fit or no match fit. Maybe a combination of both. So I'm really looking forward to getting these guys at the top of their form and running on top of the grass and go for it. That's because they'll look good. They'll look good.
Aye, like I say, it's still a win. It was a win in Europe, but we liked more on the night. But it is what it is, and we move forward. And talking about moving forward, obviously we've got a game tomorrow, and the build up to that. So what we'll do, if you 2 guys don't mind hitting mute, we'll hear a wee bit of what the gaffer had to say this afternoon actually.
Michael, first of all, can you update us? Any issues with your squad since the weekend? Any further progress on the boys who were close to moving on?
Fashion Sakala is very close to moving to a team in Saudi. On that one, he was a player that I was counting on. So he was a boy that I have a really good relationship with, as strong, maybe even stronger than anybody else in the group. He's done very well for us. The strength of the relationship was probably important because the offer for him and his family, I felt, was a really good one. So it was one that we spoke at length about. He leaves with everyone's well wishes from Rangers. He'll always be invited back, but I think sometimes there's football and there's obviously life, and that was financially, I think, an offer that for Fashion and his family he should have took, and he has done that.
Will you be able to reinvest the money that frees up back into the group, or is that not something you've looked at?
Yeah, possibly, but it's not something that's at the forefront. I think in the forward areas we are quite healthy for numbers at the moment. Tom Lawrence is back in training and be back available shortly, and Kamaru is obviously back fit. That's 2 players we didn't have last year, so we're still quite healthy in numbers.
Can I just get an idea from your point of view how important these qualifiers are for the here and now, but also the longer term development of Rangers?
Listen, I think it's the elite competition, isn't it? And we had a taste of it last year after a number of years of not playing in it. And Gio and his staff and the players did an outstanding job. The games at this level are always tough. The games I watched Servette play last week against Genk, and the mentality that they showed was absolutely outstanding. So we know we've got a tough opponent, and we're not looking any further than this game right now. To qualify again financially for the club will be very good. That's obvious. And that's our aim right now. We know we're guaranteed group stage football regardless. But at the moment, we can't look any further than tomorrow night's first leg and making sure we get a positive result.
Aye, I think technical team have made a technical error there. I think that sounded like an older press conference. If it started off, and I think this doesn't sound right, did it, Ike?
I thought it was deja vu there. I'm sure I've heard that before.
I think we'll need to give them a yellow card. I think that's what we'll need to give them. So I think we'll have to come back for that later on. But I'll tell you what, Alex, while we're talking now, Livingston, obviously we know what to expect for them tomorrow. They're going to sit in, and the usual, we've got to break them down. But David Martindale said something last season, if you remember, we didn't mind giving Rangers the width to put the crosses in because we knew we could deal with it. And I think possibly that's what he'll fancy doing, and I think that's the way he'll set his team up to see if that's the way we're going to play.
Yeah, well, the cameras panned on him at the Servette game, so he watched that at Ibrox, during the week. Yeah, we know he's going to set up that way because that's the way he comes to Ibrox. To be fair to him, it's the budget that Livingston have. They're certainly not going to be taking the game to us, and playing open expansive football. That's just no in their game, He's seen us struggle to break through Kilmarnock, who were resolute. He's seen us struggle to break through the Servette down to 10 men, organised. This is what we're going to face. The good thing about the other night, I thought, playing Servette was the early opening goal that we got through Tavernier penalty. If we do manage to get a first goal and hopefully a second goal, that alters Livingston's game plan then. So then, he's got to alter what he's coming with. So that's what we should be looking for. And hopefully we get a good win to get us off to the campaign in the league.
Bridge, that's the thing we spoke about here all last season. It's about getting the quick goals at Ibrox to kill these teams off. Even if you go 1 up, it doesn't alter their game plan. But once you go 2 up, it certainly alters their game plan, So that's what I think we've got to do this season. We've got to, especially at Ibrox, to get the goals required. And that then just takes all the way time waste and everything else that goes along with it when the game's either nothing each or it's still at 1-0.
It's strange you say these things that yourself and Alec are saying similar things. Teams come to Ibrox and they actually build strength by not conceding a goal. And you're right. See if you score a goal in the first 10 minutes or quicker than that. Rangers boost. Everything gets boosted, and the other team not so much. They don't boost at all, but they need that second goal is vital. And if we get a second goal, then their legs go away for them, and everything about them, their demeanour, everything's starts to fall apart. And then you could say, well, it's just as many as you want now, Rangers, because you've done the damage on them. But see if you don't score, hey, you know what? Everybody knows it. It's just so frustrating. And one thing we need to do, and I know he's a coach and a far better coach than I'll ever be, but last season all we did was pump the ball into the centre halves area, and they dealt with everything. Every single ball that came in was headed away, and no problem, by the way. Just and no bad headers straight into a Livingston player. We need to be able to either challenge them in the box or cut out these balls when they come out so that we can put the pressure back on again quickly. And that's the kind of thing we need to do. We don't seem to be picking these balls up properly at all. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think that Rangers are going to give them a doing tomorrow, in my opinion. The way we played in the first 20 minutes the other night, Livingston will not live with at all.
It's about that. Well, that's how we hope we'll start tomorrow. Bridge right on the front foot for the off. But I think the technical team now have managed to get Michael Beale's interview for today. So I think if you stick yourselves in mute, guys, we'll get to be listening to the first part of it.
Michael, with this game sandwiched in between Champions League qualifiers, how key is it to make sure that the full concentration's on the league, given what happened last weekend?
Yeah, obviously the full concentration's on this one.
How tough do you think it'll be?
Very tough. Loads of respect for David and the work that him and his staff do. So I think it'll be a tough game, yeah.
What in particular do you feel that you've done well now after Wednesday that you need to work on, and things that you still need to develop?
Well, we've had a little bit more time together on the training pitch. Obviously, it was a sore one last week, but it was a positive result midweek. Most important thing was to win the game. We know we could have won it better, and we know that last weekend we had chances as well. So it's clear that we're creating good moments, and the most important thing is we keep creating, and over time we'll take them.
In terms of building this understanding between all the new players on the pitch, is it just as much about understanding or developing a mentality as well to make sure you've got that winning mentality?
Yeah, of course. It's the start of a new season, and we've played 2 games, and I get that we lost the first one, but it was a good performance Wednesday, and off the back end of last season we were in a good place. So it's important we don't go overboard, but it's certainly important that we win this weekend.
Michael, can I ask you about when players come in, how long you expect them to take to get up to speed and be acquainted with everything that's required to be a Rangers player?
Well, the squad's been reloaded, if you like. It's a lot of the ideas are the same, but it's reloaded. These players come in from different leagues and different countries, and their family is settling, and they're in and out of hotels, moving into new places. So you have to take the human element, but from what I'm seeing from the players, I'm happy. It's just, they're just into a new club. It's intense here, as I'm sure they're already aware. But every day they'll get stronger. I've got a lot of faith in them.
Is that just part and parcel of being a professional footballer nowadays, that when you do move, elite players anyway, that move around the world, that you go into different environments, but there's not a long honeymoon period. You really do need to hit the ground running pretty quickly. Yeah,
of course you do, because everyone has hopes and aims for the season, and we know our first month in Scotland there's a lot to play for, both in the league with European football and the League Cup as well. I think the big thing to remember is, we lost all of our forward players, if you like, and we've changed them all, so that's going to take a little bit of time.
In terms of Livingston, what do you expect from them, and do you expect any changes from what they've been trying to achieve over the last couple of seasons?
I think David's done a fantastic job on the budget that he's got and the way he goes about it. He does well in his recruitment. He's done fantastically well. There'll be a tough nut to crack for sure. They'll make it difficult for us, and it's important we find the answers to the problems they solve.
In terms of Harkin, the midweek game against next week in Switzerland, is it easy to do that?
Yeah, it is easy to do that. Certainly after last week, we're not thinking about Servette now. Like we've got plenty of time, Sunday, Monday, all day in our nice hotel and nice surroundings in Geneva before we play in the evening. But our focus is on Livingston.
I think when you were speaking there about the intensity of managing and playing for a couple of years, just put it into context what that is actually like day to day for a player coming in, or indeed you as the manager.
Well, you've got to focus on your work. There's a bit of you versus yourself going on every day. You've got to make sure you motivate yourself. Firstly, you come in here. We can encourage players, but they've got to bring their motivation and their aims and their training. They have to understand that it's a squad game, and certainly with 5 subs now and the fact that we play every 3 days, the recovery and the preparation is important. It's important when they get their opportunity to play that they really come in and show what they can do. And it's a squad game now, football. The games are getting longer in terms of the minutes, obviously, that we were seeing with the injury time and stuff. And the fact that you've got more subs now means the energy on the pitch should stay high. in terms of the intensity of any big club, there's demands, but none of these players got to this level without demanding a lot from themselves anyway and giving a lot of expectation to themselves. It's important sometimes you remove the background noise and you can really focus on the work you're doing in here.
You mentioned throughout the summer tours that constantly meeting players and seeing the whites of their eyes and making sure that they were up for that test. How much of it also is trusting your own instincts of a player and making sure that you do cancel out the noise that's been going on last week? Yeah,
this is a unique place. It's a unique place, this city that we live in, and the demands. But everybody signed up for it. I enjoy it. Believe me if you want. But I enjoy it because there's an expectation, and every game means something. Every game there's a challenge, and I think prime example is what we've already faced this week and what we're going to face in the next week with the 3 games we've got now. Livingston, Servette away, and then Morton coming. For those teams, like it is for us, they're huge games.
You mentioned being that sort of motivator for your team and whatnot. Give us an insight into what motivates you during this period.
Just to work with the players. It's a new team. As I say, it's a reloaded squad. There's lots of new faces. The challenge is to get that team, really slick as quickly as we can. I thought there was real positive signs in midweek. You'd like to score 1 or 2 more goals, and then it'd have almost been a perfect evening. But it doesn't always work like that. The excitement is coming in and working with these players every day and building this new Rangers team, if you like. There was a lot of familiar faces in the squad last year. It seemed that people maybe got a little bit fed up with some of those faces, so we've got some new ones now. So let's learn and support them and work to build this new team. I'm hugely motivated by that.
What is your squad looking like for the weekend?
1 or 2 bumps and bruises. We just need to assess now. So 1 or 2 will miss out. I'm not going to give you any names, or I'm not going to give Davey any names today rather than yourselves. But no, there's 1 or 2 that we'll need to protect this weekend. Because they've got 1 or 2 things niggling in the background.
What's the situation with Scott Wright?
Scott Wright went over to speak to the team for Turkey. The move fell through. Scott Wright's a Rangers player and for the foreseeable until anything changes.
Michael, you found yourself in transition a number of times against Servette. It looks really impressive in terms of the way you're breaking forward. I wonder if that came from the work you've done between defence and midfield. How much have you been working on that in terms of the build-up, and if that was an element you were happy with?
Well, listen, we've it's not something that we get a lot in terms of transition, big spaces, to be honest, sometimes away from home. But if you look at Kilmarnock last week, that was not the case. That was 21 players maybe in about 35, 36 yards. So you have to find solutions to all of it. If you had a choice, of course, you'd prefer bigger spaces. We've got some athletic players, Danilo and Sam and Todd. They can bring us up the pitch. I thought both fullbacks really went for it the other day in terms of their running power in the big spaces. Abdullah Sima, I think, was the 2nd or 3rd fastest player in France last year. So there's another player there. We got Rabbi Matondo gives us that as well. So if we do play against teams in open space, I think we're equipped. Problems, like most teams really, is when you play against a team that sit loads of players back. It's who's going to unlock that door. And the combination play, you're running, you're outplaying 1v1 in those moments are really important.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Well, Alex, there's a few things you could chew over with some of the things he said. Now we're back to a couple of bumps and bruises, and there'll be a couple of players needing to get rested or issues in the background. Just another one of these seasons, isn't it, for us?
Aye, I don't know how you read that there, but I thought he came across a wee bit kind of moody, a wee bit kind of arrogant. Some of the things he was saying, we're going to a nice hotel in Geneva, nice surroundings. You know, I mean, why is he sort of saying that? He's on about reloaded. Well, I tell you, we need to start firing. On about disgruntled comments, social media. All right, social media, yeah, we know we're part of it. We're only giving our opinions because we want better for the team. But I don't know, is he feeling the pressure? I don't. It's early in the season to be coming out with stuff like that. I don't know. Would you make it yourself, Bridgeman?
Well, you know, I was saying a wee bit earlier there, it's actually difficult to believe that some of our players aren't showing the fitness we expect. However, it is only the beginning of the season and they're still to come in. And some of the guys only basically signed a week or so before the transfer deadline. But these guys, and one of them came on the other night there and showed quite good. But if we're worrying about players not being available for this game or that game, and we've only started, it doesn't augur well for us. I have to say that. It doesn't augur well for us. I wasn't too sure about what the manager was saying. Sometimes he seemed to drift away a wee bit. However, I think that Rangers, the team, he's got to start using all the players at his disposal. And I don't, forgive me, but I, like many thousands of other Rangers fans at the moment, do not understand why that boy Scott Wright is there. I just don't understand it. I just will. I can't get the word out. It's disbelievable. I just don't believe it. Unbelievable stuff. That boy's still there. Terrible.
He's only still there, Bridge, because the deal fell through. He said
I understand that. I just mean, why is
he also referenced him, and he referenced about pace, and he referenced Robbie Matondo as well, or Rabbi Matondo, and these two haven't featured at all, Alex. You know, and I know what he's talking about in space. Aye, they would be useful, but I believe probably Scott Wright and probably Matondo, if somebody comes in from, will leave. But then we've got the third fastest runner in France, and Sima. I think Sima might have something to offer, but if Scott Wright and Matondo aren't going to be part of the plans going forward, they're sitting on the bench and no coming on, the only really natural wide player we have is Sima.
Aye. The system that he's playing now is the same. I mean, he's let Cholak go. As we know, he scored 18 league goals last year. He's let Sakala go. He scored 12. Tillman's obviously went back to Bayern Munich, who's now went on to PSV. He was double figures. Scott Arfield, I think, was about 7. And we also had the so-called threat of Kent and Morelos. There's a lot of goals that's went out our team. A lot of, offensive potential went out our team. Different style, different players. Kent could at least dribble with the ball when he was on form. That's where we go, behind these 6-7 man defence. We don't have that with these guys. The only guy that's willing to take responsibility for the team, it looks to me, is Cantwell carrying with the ball. And if he's getting shut down, who does he pass it to? Who else is going to, come out of their shape, their position in the team, and take responsibility to carry it forward? Because there doesn't look to be many. I mean, Suter came forward the other day, broke the lines, and that created the second goal for Dessers. That's a job for a midfielder, surely, to be doing that. It just seems to be, we're solid at the back, nobody's willing to move their position, we're solid kind of up front, but there's very little movement, and the midfield is just zero creativity. It looks to me as if he sacrificed Lundstrom last week, it was Jack during the week, to satisfy his system. Our fullbacks need to get down the wings to create our width, but what's happening in the park, nobody is willing to take responsibility, go on the ball, and make things happen for there. I don't know how you see that, Southside, Bridge.
I think you're right. I think maybe sometimes you're looking for a leader. Raskin did seem to want the ball quite a bit, and I just think it's about creating partnerships, and it's probably a bit of an understanding bridge when we're going across the halfway line. We're looking for players to move. Cantwell certainly has it. Lammers, I think, I can see him coming short, Bridge. You've seen him coming short and picking the ball up on Wednesday night and trying to play passes and stuff, but I think it's down to just a bit more time and understanding between the players that's on the park. But I don't think you can keep switching it about too much up front. I think he needs to keep it to 4 or 5 for a few games so they get that understanding.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely right there. Lammers was picking the ball up, or he came back a couple of times, picked the ball up and does some wonderful stuff, manages to stride up into the opposition half. But I noticed, I was saying to the guy next to me that I noticed that that team pressed right up virtually to the halfway line at times, and there was only like 10 yards between the opposition defence and our defence, and all the players were in that across the park. And each time we tried to break the ranks there, we get caught offside most of the time. So I know it's very difficult. We're looking for somebody who can play a pass on the ground. Cantwell, by far and away, was our best performer the other night. He managed to break the lines many times, got the penalty, and all the things that's good about football in Rangers. We just need another couple of players to play, not necessarily play the same as them, to play like them insofar as getting themselves into the game and making, a bit fiery and do the business. Get in there and do it, and everybody will love you. And that's what we're looking for. And your goals will come. Goals will come.
When you're looking what you were saying about John Souttar there, Alex, he did break the line, and then you notice that he's going to have to go left if he can't get that pass into somebody. Somebody has to come. I looked at the throw-ins as well. No, I keep looking at it on Wednesday night again, and I don't know. We seem to we flung a ball up to Dessers in between two defenders, and somehow he managed to get it and he won it. But when he was throwing it up, I'm thinking, this isn't going to work. No, it looks like we lack ideas at times. I don't know. Players are meant to be in their formation and maybe set, but I just think we should have at least 2 or 3 coming to look for a throw-in when we've got it. And I've noticed it for seasons, but it's not just this season and last season. It seems to be in a Rangers DNA as far as I can remember back. It just seems to be always one player. Usually Ryan Jack would come, show for it, and then pass it back. But it's a bugbear of mine. But I just think throw-ins, free kicks as well, certain times. There's no imagination. I thought we'd have maybe a set-piece move or something. I thought, no, do something different. But I've not seen any of that either. For set pieces that we're maybe planning something or doing something during the game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we've got a set piece coach on the bench here now that as Allbear's referred to before. We've got that many coaches for different positions in the team. What are these guys actually doing? What is Beale doing? He's meant to be credited with the brains for Gerrard's team that won the league, and it just looks to be motionless now on the kind of sidelines. It doesn't look to be orchestrating anything. People are... It just looks to me as if they're kind of heavy chains on certain players that they're feared to move position out of the team. You can't do that. We're bringing these players here. I mean, you remember Michael Moles coming to the team? Breath of fresh air. His movement was fantastic. It was something different that we hadn't seen before. When we were bringing in these sort of players for the Italian leagues and Dutch league, we've got the Feyenoord's top goal scorer there, and we're playing him out in the right wing. What's he doing out there? He should be surely our central striker, because Dessers is offered nothing, no movement. He's no coming short. He's no linking up play the way Alfie did. Seema, I thought actually did okay when he came on. He's certainly an aerial threat. He got it on the end of a couple of decent headers. Lammers, I don't know, he flatters to deceive for me. But we're playing there with a new forward line. They're all striking up relationships, but surely to God, what are they doing in that training ground every single day? We should be drumming into them. Let their creativity come out. It's all right, we're defensing that, we can work on that, a strategy there, but midfielders are meant to be creative for our forwards, and our forwards have got to move the defenders that we're up against, and it doesn't look as if we're doing that. We had problems last week at Rugby Park. We've seen us come up against a 10-man defence with Servette. We know what we're going to get tomorrow. If we don't start, changing things up a bit, it's just going to be the same old, same old.
Aye. Probably more frustration with everybody because players, they take time to settle, and it doesn't matter what he says. And people use Hateley, but it's not a good example, to be honest, because he came and hadn't played for a long time and had that injury. But players, they take time to settle, Bridge. But you want them to be firing straight away. And as Alex said earlier, Kolak didn't have a problem last season when he came in and banging in the goals. But did you think Dessers showed a bit more movement, a bit more than he did at Rugby Park? I know the surface, if you forget the surface, but I just thought he looked a wee bit more mobile than he did on the Saturday against Kilmarnock.
Yes, I agree with you. He was a bit more mobile, but I have to say this, and once again, people can shout and ball at me as they want. I don't think Dessers is anywhere near match fit. That man's 1.5 yards short every single time. He's like one of these guys. He comes for the ball and it bounces off him. Apart from the goal where he let it, somehow he was running into it and it looked good, scored the goal. Other than that, I don't think he's managed to control the ball properly straight away. And he's, one of these times it's going to hit him, or he's going to hit at the ball, and it's going to be a really good one. And that's when it'll start to come back for him. At the moment, sometimes some of the balls he's getting into him aren't the greatest. But my God, when they come near him, he can't control it. What he was doing with that penalty, I've got absolutely no idea. Why is his arm up above his head? It's incredible stuff, So I don't think the guy is anywhere near match fit. They'll persevere with him, but you might be another 4 or 5 weeks before he's fully fit and up and running. I don't mean physically, I mean match fitness. His coordination isn't great. The guy's obviously got a good way to play football, but we need them to be playing good football all the time. That's what we need.
We know what we need. It's not always going to happen, but he cares it. That's the problem. But we need consistency. I think he'll probably have to stick with most of the forward players that he's playing if he wants to get a consistency, get an understanding into the team. I don't think you can keep chopping and changing it. I think Dessers, as Bridge alludes to, is probably still a few games away from match fitness. So I think he's got to play him. But I'm not saying you need to play him the full game. But let's not be kidded. If we should be at least a few goals up in that first half tomorrow, I'd like to think. And if we do what we've done in the first 20 minutes to Servette, then there shouldn't be a problem. Then later on you can start to change players and rest them for the Tuesday night game.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. I mean, relationships and that do take time, but that's time Mr. Beale doesn't have. We want wins first and foremost, and then the players can strike up relationships and training and stuff, and hopefully we see the fruition when it comes to it on the park. I mean, Lammers lasted last week at Kilmarnock 84 minutes before Beale took him off. He was totally ineffective in the game, as was Dessers. It was the same again on Wednesday night there. I think it was about 70 odd minutes before he eventually hooked him. He should be getting the likes of Hadji in the park, a wee bit of inventive creativity. We know he can offer that to the team. And it also sends a message to the player that, listen, I'm sorry, that I know you're trying, but we've got to send the right message to you. Your performance today isn't good enough. We expect better off you because we brought you in for decent money. You're on a good wage. We want something else off you, and basically buck your ideas up. But listen, can I just say before we carry on, one of our regular listeners, Scott Lorimer, had a baby boy tonight, Thomas Scott Lorimer, and his partner Kirsty. So congratulations to both of them. Wife and baby are doing well, I believe. So congratulations, Scott.
Congratulations. Here. Bridge, centre back position, do you think, and this is only me thinking this, so I'll put it to you, do you think maybe one of the players that might miss it tomorrow will be Connor Golson?
No, I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so anyway. Unless there's a wee knock involved in that. I don't think so. I think that centre-half pairing, he's trying to build on that. That's going to be, I think, his centre-half pairing. And Connor Golson provides cover for him to do these forays up big shooter. And he looks quite good doing it as well, He made some great runs the other night there from in defence. 10 defence into midfield and then up inside their half. I thought he did very well in all these things. And I mean, he's made up for the blunder he had against Kilmarnock, in my opinion. But I think Souttar's a fine centre half. I've said this before. I didn't like him to come at Rangers. I didn't want him at Rangers. And I ate my words and said, right, yeah, then he's going to be with us, and I can only wish him luck. And he's proved pretty good up to now. I've got no complaints about him. And I think Connor Golson was great as well the other night. Our problem, sorry for the ranting on here. For me and thousands of Rangers fans in the Copeland Road, where as a defensive in the wings, you have two fullbacks. They're great when they're going for really and truly great going forward. My God, see when they're playing against that team there, that team are like lightning. Their passes are so swift, and nearly every pass out to the wings hit their man, and we couldn't do anything about it. We couldn't take the ball off them. None of us, and you had to wait for me, Raskin or Cantwell coming back to do it, because our fullbacks couldn't do it. They couldn't tackle them. They just couldn't catch them. And that's my honest opinion.
If you think their wide men were good, do you want to see PSVs? It's a different level again, Bridge.
Can I just say to you, Susie, I was sitting beside, my mate sits beside me, that his boy, there was something wrong, he had to go and sit beside his boy, and his pal was with him, and he's a PSV, he's a Dutchman, and he supports PSV, and he was telling me about Danilo and players like that, and he said, this boy's brilliant, very fast, and once he gets his feet in Ibrox, you'll love him. And he says PSV are absolute dynamite at the moment. Absolute dynamite.
Aye.
Under Gio, incredible.
Aye, no, Gio's not their manager now.
Is he not now? Is he not?
No, but they're certainly playing. They play the Dutch style, Bridge, and it'll be similar to what they were last year. But they looked a lot quicker and they looked fast and plenty of pace in their team. AK, I don't know if you've seen any of their game, but. That's if we get past Servette first. We've got to put them to bed next Tuesday first and get them out the road, and then we can worry about them. But the more I just thought maybe Alex, it could be Connor Golson. He just come back in. He's played two games in a bounce. There was one part in the game on Wednesday night where he get drawn out to the right hand side near the west enclosure. Maybe about 10-15 yards in, he had to come across, and the boy just cut inside him and ran across the park. He tried to chase him, maybe he's miles off him, but that's all down to match fitness and coming back so quick. Well, we think it was a bit quick coming back at the start of the season.
I agree with you. I mean, on my team there on the Tuesday show, I actually thought that he might play Balogun in there because of that. But Beale was just, Connor Golson just plays every week. It's the same as Tavernier. It doesn't matter what they do in there. I mean, I can see you're thinking, but how is he going to get fitter resting out of this game, or is he going to get fitter playing in the game? So I don't know. I've got a feeling that he'll still play in there. I'm with the Bridge, man. But it's I know where you're coming from. He doesn't look fit at all, and he'll get fun out. At Servette if he's still in the same condition again with the heat.
Well, it's 31 degrees over there at the moment, so it'll be a warm night. I just thought maybe we're coming back and playing the two quick games. He might have been one of the players that possibly maybe carrying a wee, that was my only method in it, but apart from that, Cantwell looked as if he took a sore one, didn't he? He took a couple of sore ones, Bridge, on Wednesday night, and just wondering. But obviously, we're going to have two players missing. But hopefully, it's only going to be for the rest period to get them back fit again. But I think we might have Michael Beale's second part of his interview. So if you guys go into mute, we can listen to that.
So with the second goal, John Souttar breaking from the back, is that something that will be important, that aspect of his play against these low blocks that you face, the ability to burst through the defence, big lines?
Yeah, but I thought also Nico and Todd run forward a lot more from midfield, and both fullbacks run forward a lot more, and it was a faster pitch, and that certainly helped us on the night. John Souttar's got fantastic attributes. The longer John can stay fit and healthy and play more matches, then everyone will see that more often. But I think everyone knows that John Souttar's a really good player. But unfortunately, his career to this time has been blighted by injury through no fault of his own, I have to say. So it's lovely to see him fit and healthy. And I thought he was fantastic in that goal. He combined with Jacko, it drove past 3 or 4 players. There's not many centre-halves around who have got those qualities.
Particularly for me, it's been said by Rangers manager in the past, in Scotland you have to earn the right to play your football, to win the physical battle first and foremost. I wonder if you still think that's relevant in 2023, and yeah, just how you would address that notion.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. I think the biggest thing is if you have control of the game in terms of possession and more shots, more crosses, more set plays, the likelihood is at some point you're going to take one of those. And we didn't last week. Livingston are going to compose us completely different challenge to Kilmarnock in different areas. I don't see him as just a physical team, so I wouldn't want to say that. I think that Davey's got an organised team. He's got a way of playing. I think they're quite good in transition as well. So it's a different problem for us to solve. And there's a lot of variety in this league. So I need to be careful answering that question.
How are you with Jose Cifuentes' cameo, and is he a different profile to what you've got in that area of the park?
He's playing tomorrow.
Just happy with his performance, his first glimpse that you got of him on the park on Wednesday?
Yeah, he's a prime example. He didn't get in until late on the Wednesday, but on the Thursday before, a bit of jet lag. But I wanted him to be on the bench just to see Scottish football. 8 subs. Let's just get him there, and so he can understand the environment. Still just only moved into his new place the last couple of days, so he's in and out of a hotel. I thought he was quite good when he came on the other night in a small glimpse, but now I think he's ready. He's been playing since January. He knows his teammates. There's ever such a small language barrier because he speaks decent enough English. And he's ready to go now, and I'm looking forward to watching him tomorrow.
You've mentioned that the spending will even itself out this summer, roughly. Is there a lot of work going on behind the scenes in terms of outgoings? Because you'd assume it would have to be to sort of even that out at the moment.
We're one away. I think some of the prices you guys have inflated a little bit. So, yeah, we're one away. One maybe going out away from that all evening up.
One more ask.
Michael, can I just ask you, one of the big challenges you've got is it that you need some patience just to build a new team, but in Glasgow you never get that time?
Listen, I don't think any manager does now. I lost my first game as QPR manager as well, 1-0 away from home, and that didn't feel too great either down in London. But yeah, you certainly here you're in a goldfish bowl, but no, I believe in what we're doing. I think the fans that come to the stadium the other night, they were unbelievable. They support this team through thick and thin, whether we're home or away. We'll go to Geneva next week. We'll sell out our section there. We'll be packed out again tomorrow, and the fans give this club everything they can. I think that naturally, if the team underperforms, there's always 1 or 2 groans. We're no different to that. But I think when they're behind the team, their support is extremely helpful. But with social media and all the things like that, then it's not always your fans that are after your players as well. But every manager faces that.
Okay, just on Alex Lowry, obviously made his debut for Hearts last week. He impressed. He played in Europe last night against Rosenborg. What's the process behind sending him on loan? Once that decision was made, how important was it to find the right club for his development, and why ultimately was that Hearts?
Well, the first thing is I wanted to keep him as close to home as possible. The second one was I had a long conversation with Stephen Naismith about him and about what Stephen was looking for and about what Rangers were looking for Alex. This is a loan to come back. This is a loan to go there and do well. This is a loan to go and play regular after a broken season. He has no promises. He's got to earn it like everybody else, which I think is important. But I felt that Stephen was the right place for him, and I think Hearts was the right club as well. They're obviously in Europe, the big game with Rosenborg. Good luck to him in the second leg. I think it's really important for Scottish football. And Alex, I thought, did ever so well at St Johnstone last week, considering he didn't arrive there until the Friday afternoon and probably had only met his teammates on the Saturday morning. So, listen, so far so good. I think it's a really interesting loan for us, and it was just a case of Alex missed quite a bit of football last year for injury and different things, and this year I really want him to play. He's 20 years old and he probably missed pretty much a season with injury. So what a fantastic place for him to go and play, which is close to home and where me and the staff can monitor his every move. But I trust Stephen with him because I think Stephen will be strong with him in terms of the areas he needs to work on as well.
Oh well, Stephen Naismith, I wouldn't have him back at Ibrox for the half-time draw near a would, Alex Kelly.
Oh, you're a harsh man, Southside.
No. Bridge, you want him back at half-time?
No, never. I don't want him back. I don't even want him to come and play against us. That guy, the things he said, we were in dire trouble. The things he said, no, not for me. Not for me.
Nah, him and Stephen Whittaker. Don't get me wrong, a great player. I thought
Whittaker also. I thought Whittaker was a smashing player also.
Aye, and when you think about it, I mean, Stephen Naismith put some amount of work effort in. He was hard as nails. He gets stuck in. Sometimes laid one on the defender to let him know he was there. Could score plenty of good goals for us. He was hard working, and that was the one thing about him. I thought Alex, when he was there, he was a good player for us at the time we had him.
Of course he was. He definitely did a job there. But I know where you're coming from. There's players that know how to conduct themselves after they leave the club. You know, they never say a bad word about the club. Numerous examples of that over the years. DJ, Colin Stein, you know, plenty of examples. You know, and that's the kind of standards that's been driven into them. You know, they never decry anything about the club, and you know, there's certain aspects that you can, you know, appreciate with that. Naismith's doing the other side, so that's up to him.
Aye, listen, probably badly advised, I think, Bridge, but I just couldn't forgive them for it ever, you know.
You know, when you think about those two players in particular that unfortunately said, shall we say, non-complimentary things about Rangers, they were you tell yourself, they were fantastic players for us. And the crowds loved them. They loved those two players. I'm not saying they were the best players in the world, but they were great for Rangers, and they did really, really well in their careers and everything with Rangers. And Naismith actually went on to have a really good career after Rangers. I think most of that was on the back of his career at Rangers. I have to say that it's with... I don't mean to be nasty to anyone. I won't be nasty. But there's thousands and thousands and thousands who feel the same way about the two players. As you say, you don't say anything about the Rangers. I don't want to hear any. That's one of the reasons that a lot of folk don't like or dislike Barry Ferguson, because he is not very complimentary about the Rangers. I don't want to hear any ex-player of ours saying anything about the club. Rather, he said nothing and gone with their life, or just say nice things if they can remember them. That's what I would say.
Aye, well, Michael Beale was saying he didn't want to be too uncomplimentary about the league, but Alex, let's not be kidded. You've got to go in at the start and win the battle. You've got to go in and control the game, take control of midfield. You've got to get in there and dominate the game. So it is about winning the battle, and then you can get to play your football.
You're right there, pal. Attitude, application. Say it every time I'm on the show, pal. He needs to drum that into him. The mentality of the Rangers player needs to be different from every other player in the league. They've got to show character. They've got to, you know, willing to burst energy, burst through a brick wall for that badge, for the cause, for their manager, but more importantly for the fans. It's the standards that we've got to drive into these players. Unacceptable levels of performance we'll accept. You know, if we get beat with a better team, but there's a manner that you can go out there and, you know, impose yourself on the team you're playing against. Generally, our players, the wages are on. They should be better than every other team in Scotland, but it's the mentality. You've got to go out there and win the battle first and foremost, and then you should be the better players, you know, to prove your ability on the park. We're playing in Ibrox tomorrow. We've not got the sticky surface at Kilmarnock, so that's an advantage. We've got the crowd behind us. Go out there and show why you're at our club.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he said, Bridge. He said he identified all these players, but I think if he picks the right team tomorrow, obviously there's going to be two missing by the sounds of it, so he's going to rejig it slightly. But at the end of the day, we've got, I still say on here, we've got a nucleus probably about 14 players, I think, at the moment that you could pick out the 11 and he would probably be quite happy with it. After that, there might be one or two, but I think there's a nucleus of 14 in his head that he doesn't mind changing round about.
Yeah, I think personally, there's a lot of folk think it. I think Rangers should be playing a 3-5-2 at Ibrox against everybody. I don't know how they're going to do it. I'll put Balogun and the other two centre halves. There's, for me, there's your three at the back, and just get rid of these defensive midfielder, because we've got to push up. We've got to get right up there and up in their face and push the ball as fast and hard as you can up to the forwards, and let's make sure that it gets to the forwards. And they good passing balls 15 feet up in the air. The guy can't jump for that. He's never going to get. But their centre halves can just wait for it coming and just power it away. Get in there and do it. And at the level that we're at, find the players, push the ball forward. That's what we want. Don't stop. See, if you stop, the ball's going to come whizzing right past you. And that's what you're up against. The ball will come whizzing right past you, and you're going to be left. Just crazy. We need to do it. We need to do it. Play proper football. I think we should play 3-5-2 tomorrow, and let's see how it goes.
Interesting. What we'll do is after the tune, because we'll be coming up to the tune just in a couple of minutes. After that, we'll be talking about formation. You'll get your team, Alex Kelly, see what system you're putting out. But tomorrow, I think we might play with a bit of width. I think you maybe see my might come into the squad tomorrow. I don't know why. I just think we might need to stretch it at Ibrox. I think another reason is if we've got the two fullbacks in Tav and Borna, if he doesn't do John Sterling in to one of the positions to give him a rest, you're asking him to bomb up and down that park again, and then it'll be the same again on Tuesday night, Alex, and they're both above the 30 mark.
Aye. It could be an opportunity to put in Sterling for Tavernier. You're at Ibrox, you're at your own crowd, you're better having a debut at Ibrox, rather than a sticky surface at Kilmarnock. So I don't know the injury situation. We don't seem to have seen a hell of a lot of him, but a change in the kind of the lineup is good for the freshness, the attitude, the players. He's revealed he's going to bring in Cifuentes to the lineup. That's good. He's starting to play Danilo for the start. That's good. So if we're seeing the likes of Sterling coming in there, it maybe make Tav buck up his ideas a wee bit and gives a different impetus on the game. So, I'm certainly no privy to not to change it. So let's see what happens there.
But we don't really need to change it that much, to be honest. But it wouldn't surprise me if you wanted to get some game time into legs. Probably Balogun would be the one that I would maybe change tomorrow, just to get some game time into. I don't think Livingston's going to come with three strikers and stuff. It should be us dominating the game, so it could be a game where you could get them some game time. Yeah,
but I think one of their strikers, a big heavy-made boy, and puts himself about a bit. You could utilise Balogun for that, to null that one. But yeah, I'd definitely go for a 3-5-2, and I just Tavernier scored again the other night. And it's non-stop, isn't it, with him? He's scoring goals, whether it be penalties or free kicks or whatever. He's there and thereabouts. But for God's sake, want him to defend, or somebody to defend behind him would be a really good idea. That's why I say 3-5-2.
All right, we'll discuss it. We can discuss that in a team selection for Alex Kelly after the tune. So if you would like to go mute, guys, we'll have a wee tune.
Even hear the underlings the best they've ever seen. The Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur too. There's Arsenal, Chelsea, Blackburn, just to name a famous few. Who's that team they call it? Just who's that team we all adore? They're the boys in loyal blue who rank Scotland's talent, and they're out to show the world what they can do. smoke the empty game while I'm mortalizing. I'm the punch the way I'm the game and try and learn.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Yep, the phone lines are open, so if you'd like to come in and speak to a couple of the Bridgeman or AK, put your point across, and more than welcome. Otherwise, you'll just listen to us three talking. Formation, Alex. Bridgeman was talking about 3-5-2. I think it's something I would... Europe, I don't mind a 4-5-1. I could see a 3-5-2 in Europe. But at Ibrox, you still think we should do a 3-5-2?
See, what I'm seeing now, it looks as if he's setting up 4-3-3, right? But see, when we've got the ball, he then changes it to a 3-4-3 for me. Lundstrom dropped into the centre half, split the two centre halves, and that allowed the full backs to come into midfield. But as I say, some of the players seem confused about what he wants to do. You know, they're rigid in the position and they're not willing to take responsibility. And what we've seen out of Cantwell against Servette is he was a guy that was dropping deeper than probably he should, but at least he was looking for the ball. And we don't have enough of that in the team. You know, guys willing to take responsibility for their own position. So for me, the team that I've got picked for tomorrow, got Butland in goals, got to play Tav, Golson, Suter, Barisic. I've got a diamond in the midfield with Cifuentes being the anchor man. I've got Raskin at right, Cantwell at the head, and I'm going to put in Dow. He was the press guy today, so I think he's going to play him. And I think he's going to play Danilo up front. I would play Lammers next to him, give him another shot and put him further forward, but I think he's going to play Dessers there myself. But what do you think of that?
I like Dow. And I can see a place for him in the team at times. But then, because it's about forming a partnership in that with Borner or whoever, if Yilmaz comes back in time or whatever. But he is a left-sided player, and Beale's alluded to he wants to go a bit more forward. The Raskin one for me is, I think he probably could play a wee bit more further forward. So, who did you have at the boat, mate? You had Cifuentes, didn't you?
Cifuentes, yeah. It'll be interesting to see if Cifuentes has done what Jack and Lundstrom have done the previous two games, because if so, then Beale's instructing them to do that. You know what I mean?
Aye, Bridge, I think, well, from what I've heard, he likes to go forward and go at the edge of the box and that, so I don't know if he'll be the natural holding player in the midfield beside Raskin, but a lot of people think that, Bridge, but he might actually be the number 8 that bursts forward.
That's what a lot of folk are thinking. He's going to be the one that can create, you know, get himself into that lovely little position there and burst forward with the ball at his feet. We see Raskin as well, but we see Canton. Oh my God. Never mind.
Cantwell.
We see Cantwell doing that. It's such a wonderful thing to see the way he bursts forward, and he's got a wee bit of pace. We need to get somehow allow for people with pace to come into our team. We really do need it. What we don't want is, I might have to say this again, I don't want to see Borna Barisic running up the wing and stopping and putting the ball back. That's just, to me, that's just an utter waste of money and time. It's just really is. What on earth is he doing? Because he can't see anybody, doesn't mean he says his name to there, because he can't see beside him, never mind anything else. As soon as he turns in, there's plenty of men to give the ball to. But the guys should be in front of him, or he thinks he should be in front of him anyway. I just don't like to see waste. You know, everybody's running forward, and all of a sudden goes to a full back and he stops. He passes the ball back. Nah, no right for me.
Well, usually in the first half at Ibrox, when we shoot the normal way. I watched Borna most of the time. I thought he did a decent game on Wednesday. I thought he worked hard. I thought he put challenges in, and I didn't think he done that. I don't think he'd really done much wrong. But I get Bridge sometimes that he has got to check. But I'll be honest, sometimes you were looking forward, and I'm watching that the Rangers players out there, nobody was showing for them to pass it forward. So you know yourself, if it comes to it and there's nothing on forward or somebody inside for you to pass it to, you're better passing it back to your defender, Alex Kelly, to recycle the ball than lose it. But I know it's frustrating. Absolutely. I know it can be frustrating sometimes, but it's not always Borna's fault. It has been lack of movement.
I agree with you, mate. If that's the case and Borna's looking up and there's no movement off of Dessers or Danilo or Lammers, that's not his fault. So as you say, you're better playing it back to keep ball retention and maybe look to put Tavernier up the right wing and go that channel. But that's, as you say, what's the point of Borna going up there and then putting that into space and Dessers and they're not reading it. You know, there was a time there when I think it was Rask in the second half burst through and he put a great ball into Dessers, you know, to be the channel, and he kind of turned the other way, you know, and the
ball checked out it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and you're like, well, that's relationships that you need to read, you know. But when he's showing that forward and then Stokes going, well, what do you expect him to do then? You know, because he's not going to pass it back to the area where he's coming when he's got all that space in the front of him. So it's relationships, as you say, but these players are the quality that you should be reading each other naturally, you know, but it looks disjointed the way it is a wee bit, doesn't it?
Aye, see, to be honest, Brad, see when we were at Rugby Park, when we had Lundstrom dropping in and that, do you know, it felt like we were playing like a horseshoe. Style, you know, that's what it looked. I mean, because that's what it was like. And I thought Wednesday was slightly different because he was turning and trying to go in the front foot. But I was starting to think, I mean, everybody slaughtered Gio for this horseshoe sort of across the back without actually going anywhere. And it was like a bit like that when it started. And that's what I'm hoping that we'll not be like. I'm hoping that when we get the ball for defenders, we've got at least two options to get the quick. I mean, football's a simple game. It's pass and move. You know, it's no hard, Bridge, but I certainly seen the old horseshoe back. I'm thinking, no danger. That Michael Beale can't be good as this.
I think Michael Beale, and I say this in all greatest respect to the guy, that I'm trying to emphasise when I says to you, when you see someone like Borna Barisic running down the wing, and all of a sudden he stops. He's stopping for a reason. There's nobody there to give the ball to. And that's what I mean. It's no good. You're wasting people's time. You're wasting him. He's not even breaking sweat, if you follow what I mean. And there's no defenders coming to him to leather him. He just stops and puts the ball back. And yes, retention's good. If in doubt, give it back. That's fine. But everyone understands that. But you see, there was a couple of incidents. The ball, there were beautiful balls out to the right wing, or close to the right wing, and for Taft to run onto, and he ran onto them. And he's maybe 10 yards inside the opposition half, and he again looks up, and there is nobody there. So I'm saying, Mr. Beale, look at what's happening when you're giving wide balls out. These are the wingers. They're not going to get in there and do amazing things and beat everybody. They want them to give a pass in, make sure there's somebody there to get the pass. A body, somebody. And there should be, if the full-backs can get there, where's the rest of the players? That's what I say. Where are they for these guys to run to? So I didn't mean to insult Borna Barisic or Tav, and as far as that's concerned. But it's just waste. It's just a waste. You've gained 40 yards, 50 yards. You're inside the opposition half, and you have to turn and put a 30-yard pass back to your defenders. All right.
I think we've been joined by Old Davy. How you doing, Old Davy?
How you doing, guys? Sorry I missed the first bit. Is it AK, Bridge and yourself, Southside?
Sure is.
That's great, guy.
Good evening, David.
Great to hear you guys. I'm a bit late tonight. I was doing a bit out in the garden there, freshening out my new strimmer.
Well, no, actually, what you were strimming.
Yeah, this is the things you get up to when you get to 74, guys. I mean, it's weird. It's weird. Who goes out at this time to trim their grass? But I did. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm not belong, you're 75, David.
Oh, I keep
don't start him.
Keep the chocolate coming, boys. He's playing a binder, just for his ears.
So what's your point?
My point is, my point is, I think there's been too much negativity. I know the Bears, I know we were away up high there, and then Commander just brought us right down to the pits. But I was leading my judgment. I says, oh, that's got there's a lot of points there. You can blame this, that, part, blah, 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 going on and on. It's done, it's happened. I says, I'll leave my judgment to Wednesday. Now, even after that, people are still mumping. Now, I feel that's just not helping the team either. Because that was, whether they like it or no, that was a win against a really top team. And it was a vastly improved performance all round. Easy me, we're talking about Barisic, definitely. So I wish they would lay off him a wee bit. And I know they always get behind him, but there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of games to come. And I think we'll give that Livingston a doing them, or if we come out like we did on Wednesday. Because we opened that mob up. The only problem I had was when they went to 10, and they sort of mostly, they just camped in again. But you're going to get that. But you're disappointing. If I've got a disappointment, it was we just didn't take our chances. But we made the chances, we didn't make them on Saturday.
Aye, so we're up against a higher opposition, Davey. We said earlier, if we probably play like the first 20 minutes we did on Wednesday night, we should blow Livingston away. And if we get 2 goals up or 3 up, their game plan goes out the window. They're only going to stay in the game at 1-0, and their game plan will no change. Any team like that that comes to Ibrox are going to sit and do the same. But I think you can see a bit of difference. I said earlier, I thought Dessers looked a bit better. I thought he looked a bit more mobile. I think he'll get sharper as he gets more game time. I can see patterns of play. I thought were good. Nice one-touch football. Can see a couple of things. It's just about being a bit slicker and getting them probably to develop an understanding, Davey. That's what we're looking for. And the goalie made a really good save for Lammers, where it was a good bit of play. So it was all better for the Saturday. And I think we agree that it should be getting a bit better again come tomorrow. Kick off at 3 o'clock.
Yeah. A lot more positives than there was negatives. You come back to Saturday, that's dusty, that's gone. And they're up to ante, and everybody wanted that to happen. Unfortunately, we just didn't get a couple more goals, but a wee bit more progress in how they were all playing together. And that was a big plus for me anyway.
No, Alex, that's just when we're talking, the manager mentioned Alex Lowry going out on loan. You had said to try and get him into the team at one point last season. It sounds like his manager saying he'll be coming back. Sometimes I find when players go there for a period of time, they usually want to buy them, hence what happened to Lewis Mayo at Kilmarnock. But if he's got a future at Rangers, it's going to be good that he's going to get first team football at Hearts this year.
It is. I mean, Alan McGregor was sent out on loan to St Johnstone, Dunfermline and that, getting game time experience, in there with senior pros and learn what it's all about. I think it's a testy attitude and why he's been sent out there. Obviously, he wasn't going to get guaranteed game time anyway. That area of the park is Beale believes, I think, we're quite strong in there, so he's going to get limited game time as it was. And that's not going to be good for his progression. Getting a start with Hearts in his European game the other night is good for his confidence. He came on and influenced the game, St Johnstone right away. It's a good grounding for him. Hearts are a decent team, third, fourth in the league usually. They've got to be up there competing. He's going to get used to, the crowd and the players and everything he's up against. If he does well there, I do hope he comes back, and I do hope he has a future, because we're sending out far too many of these young boys out there, and they're not really progressing into the first team the way we had hopes and dreams. They had hopes and dreams as a youngster. So we need to kind of get our own youngsters, get that progress back through the first team if we could.
Bridge, I think it's a good schooling for him this season to get the experience, and then hopefully he comes back next year and he can try and push into the team, or if no, it might be good experience for him where somebody will want to come in and buy him, and then we'll just probably sell him because we'll probably just look at him as if he maybe no be coming back to the team. But at the end of the day, it's a win-win for the club and the player. Should he come back and establish himself, or should he get a move permanently?
Personally, I don't think he'll ever be. I don't think he'll be back to Rangers at all if there's a sale, if there's an offer comes in. I doubt very much if Rangers will want to play him in the first team again. That's my honest opinion. I've seen him a couple of times. He looks really good, and all of a sudden he's not in the selection. He's not getting selected, and there's something going on there that we're not privy to, and I don't know what it is. But I mean, he's away at Hearts. He jumped at the chance to go to Hearts. And he might do really well. As I wish him well, and I hope he does do well, and I hope he does get a contract with Hearts, to be honest, and there can be a deal done, because I don't think he'll ever get a game against the Rangers for playing for the Rangers. I don't see it.
Davey, I think we've just added Cifuentes, we've got Raskin, we've got Cantwell, we've got Dow, you've got Jack, Lundstrom, Hadji, and Lammers. So I think the wee man's looked at it and thought, I'm as well getting out of Hearts. If they're wanting me, he's obviously discussed it with Michael Beale, and it's probably a good move for him, to be honest, at the moment.
That's a great move for him. That's a great move. I'm with what Bridge is saying about him. I'm a bit wary that if the team the squad that we've got at the moment, if that develops into a really, which we all hope they will do, develop into a good team, he'll have one hell of a bother. Even if he knocks it off at Hearts, he'll have a very hard, journey back, as I would say. But you can't tell. It's still early. You never know if it's going to happen. It's the nature of the beast, guys. Can I just say something, Suicide, about I was down at Ibrox last week. Well, this week it was, sorry. And I just put a wee shout out for any of the Bears that go to the museum. It was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I sat in there and I watched some of the old stuff, and I just sat there, and I had a tear was coming to my eye about all my mates that I've lost in the past few years who were at all these games, and I just said to myself, I wish all these guys that I've lost could be here to see this, because it was really uplifting. And I tell you, I said to the concierge, if you want to call him, or the ticket collector, as we used to call him, I said, they should get some of that team after Kilmarnock. They should get some of them down here and let them get in there for half an hour and see what we're all about, because that is what we're all about, guys.
Aye, it is. It's fantastic, Davey. The players have been in and seen it and that. But it is, and I didn't expect it to be as interesting and stuff what I seen at the time. I couldn't really imagine it, to be honest. And I know there's loads more stuff that can get put in there and it's going to change as the months go on. But it was fantastic, and just to walk around it and see it, and like you say, it can get you emotional. You can start back thinking to games that you were at. You can watch games and listen to all the managers that have been privileged to be your manager of your club talking all that, and clips for games and how Ibrox was getting built and all that at AK. It was certainly worth anybody that's not been done should really go down and see it, because it's fantastic.
That's good to hear. I mean, I've been on the Founding Fathers tour myself, and that's great to go in. So educational, but rumours had that Bridgeman sat down there for a coffee and they started building a glass case round about him. Any truth in that?
He was sitting there, and somebody said to him, "You look familiar," and he said, "I'm Bridge for Rangers Radio." So they bought him his dinner and his lunch, didn't they, Bridge?
Oh, very good, guys. Very good.
He's no buying nothing. Come on, AK. Even Davey knows that. It was bought for him.
Don't bring me into that. I only went down for a coffee myself and ended up spending 20 quid.
Well, should I my jersey card, you get a 15% discount. Talking about money, right? Talking about money. I think what we'll do is we'll just go and hear what the Super 6 is for this weekend.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, no.
Don't look better than last week.
Oh, yeah. Hi, welcome to Southside Super 6 for August the 12th. This weekend's selections will be Brighton to beat Luton, St Mirren to beat Dundee, Queen's Park to beat Arbroath, Raith Rovers to beat Greenock Morton, Ipswich to beat Stoke, and Leicester to beat Huddersfield away from home. If you take all 6 selections, it pays 36.5 to 1. My Rangers bet this weekend is Rangers to win 3-0, pays 7 to 1. What can you say? Does that sound good, Davey?
Aye, I'm just very interested. You're not far away there, I think.
I was told to be creative.
Still sponsored by Lad Books then.
That's an old one. You'll need to come up with something new, you. So are you fancying a flutter, Alex Kelly?
Oh, I'll give him a £5 donation, no bother, big man. You've cost me a fortune.
Well, no chance of asking Bridge. He's no parting with nothing, you know.
That's shocking.
You need to go into the vault, Bridge. You know what I mean? How are you going to get in the vault at this time of night?
I love it.
I believe I'm hoping everybody who's in the last man standing competition that GB has been running, I'm hoping everybody's had their teams in for this weekend. I was thinking Ox might have had his in, Bridge, but I believe Ox is out.
He's out. He's not one of the last men standing anymore.
No, he was a 1 week wonder.
Oh my God. I take it the other guy's out. Fox out.
There was quite a lot of Foxes out as well, yeah. Fox get put out. I was disappointed.
So you're out, Fox is out.
Excuse me, I'm still in.
Are you still in? Alec Kelly
yes.
out?
Yes, yep. I'm going for Celtic reserves this week.
So I think there might only be about 18 or 20 left. I'm not sure, but there's round about that, I believe. But I'm sure GB will give an update after this weekend. There was quite a few casualties last week. So, as you were saying, sorry, what's the plot now? Alex Lahuri, Davey. He was never going to break in this year, so I just think it's disappointing he's come through the academy and stuff, but when you're looking at what's in front of him in the competition at the moment, it's probably the best that he goes out and gets that experience. And probably you could look at it that Ryan Jack might not be there next season with a 1 year extension. There might be 1 or 2 others in the midfield that might disappear, and it might give him an opening if should he come back next season.
You know, sorry, pal. Sorry.
All right, Bridge, on you go, mate.
I was just going to say, I'm not confident that Lowry's going to make it at Hearts. Hearts is a tough place to play. You know, there's great pressures on the Hearts players, great pressures, and I don't know how many games the boy's going to get. And you know, Hearts play tough games, tough football, absolutely tough football, 100% all the time. So I'll be interested to see how he copes with the pressures at Hearts. Good luck to him anyway.
He was voted the enough man of the match. last week, Bridge. He had a really good game, seemingly for Hearts. So, yeah, I think he'll do quite. Yeah. I mean, he's creative. He's got a vision and stuff. And Hearts might give him the chance to maybe develop a bit more in their team, where the pressure's maybe after them as much as it is, Alex, when you're playing at Rangers. You know the pressure you're under. But if he gives a wee second, I think we've been joined by Jimmy. How are you doing, Jimmy?
Hi, good evening. Thanks for taking my call. I just listened to all the comments, and you look at the social media, and people are saying that they're all too negative, and somebody else is saying we need more positivity and all that. But the positivity will come through the results and the performances of the team. The way it is now, the game's hardly started. So if we win all our games and struggling all our games, but we still win 1-0 or 2-1 or whatever we do, we're going to clear up in every competition that we're in. But the manager, although they're saying that he has to have time, and he'll get time, but he's not got a great deal of time, because all the other teams are going to be standing still, saying, look, we don't really want to show up or play to the Rangers get themselves sorted out here. So it's not a thing like that at all. But I think he would help himself if he didn't speak so much and kept his mouth shut. If you look at all our managers, and our great managers, and even if you look at the great British managers, with a possible exception, again, right back to like Shankly, who loved to talk, sometimes it was like getting the blood out of a stone when they were getting interviewed. And a lot of them would just walk away when the interviewer came out with something stupid, and you just end the interview and bail it. Walter Smith was like that. You go right back, Souness, he wouldn't tolerate all that. He wouldn't feed them all the information and start talking. He would let the victories and let the trophies do that for them. And that's what I think we should be. He's the exact opposite for what Gio is. He just speaks too much. And the players, fair enough, they're bedding in. But you've got to remember that he's the guy that's brought all these players in. So when he's selecting players, and he's got a pattern of play in his head, and then he's bringing in people that's going to fit into these places, just like a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. But he's not randomly just looking at YouTube and then looking to see who's available and say, well, we'll buy him. Because I heard a couple of statements where he says, well, we get rid of 4 forwards, so we brought 4 forwards in. But you don't just say, well, I've ran out of forwards. Right, there's 4 forwards, bring them in. They have to fit in with your way of playing and what you've got in your mind. And up to the now, it's not happening. But hopefully it will happen, because the way the fixture list's been, we've got the packed defences, we've got the plastic pitches, we're going up to the Highlands to play in these stupid grounds. We're in the European competition where it's open play. And then we've got the Parkhead mob coming, which will be an all-out battle. But yeah, it'll all be opening up. We'll not be sitting in. And that's where, even last season, when you look at our positive performances, even going back to Gio when Aberdeen came to Ibrox and we hammered them, they gave it a go against us that day and probably extended Gio's stay at Ibrox for a few weeks. And then when we went to Hearts, we went to Hibs, they opened it up and we hammered them. But it's the tight packed defences that he knows that he has to have the players there that can do that. And that's where the wood, people that can control the ball, people that can take on men, mixing the game up, going through the centre, going out for the wings, high balls in, kick-outs for the keeper. The whole mix of the play, not just, we'll just keep doing it this way. It's like giving somebody a hammer and say, just hit that with a hammer, and then eventually it'll break, or else your arm will fall out. That's not the way to do it. You have to have that player, horses for courses, and players that can fit into your system. Now, he's been given that opportunity, and that's what he has to deliver on.
No, you're right, Jimmy. You're right, 100%.
They're talking about blue noses beside him and all that. I mean, Martindale's a blue nose. But like most managers, they'll surround themselves with yes men. They'll not bring in people with different opinions. And that's what you have to do. And if you look at just last season or a couple of seasons ago, that guy came from Australia that never knew anything about MD, with a lot of Chinese, Japanese, or whatever they are. And yet, he never brought in his own men. He worked with what he's got to a certain extent. So he was getting the best of both worlds there. Because whether we liked him or didn't like him, I mean, I've got a bit of admiration for the guy. You know, I don't think he'll go down and take England by storm. But he knew what he was doing. You know? And that's what we've got to look at. Whereas, I mean, I've never been convinced with Michael Beale, but I'll give him the chance. But I think if he kept his mouth shut, it might help him a wee bit.
No, you've made a lot of good points, Jimmy. We've all watched the game, we've watched Rangers. We've not been fast starters in any league campaign over the years, but we all wanted change, and we all must understand that it is going to take a bit of time for players to settle in. I think he had this vision in his head, Jimmy, last season when he came in, and I don't think he had the players to execute what he wanted to do. And now, AK, we've went out and he's got the players that he seemingly wanted. Probably most of them are probably first picks. And it's just about bedding them in and finding a system. But Jimmy's right and all. You go into European football, you give the bobby, you don't get it back until sometimes it's usually a by kick or you're picking it up out your net. In Scotland, we give the bobby, we get it back quite quickly. It's about styles of the games as well. As what the league isn't conducive to the football that we want to play when you go into the European stage. Most other leagues are maybe similar to yours, but the football, maybe they might have maybe 6 or 8 teams in that league that are a lot better than the 6 or 8 teams that are left in your league.
I would. The recent results at Scottish football, basically, not just our results, but your Hibs and your Motherwell, your Kilmarnock, Celtic, us, Hearts, you know, recent results out with their own up until last year was pathetic for Scottish football. And that's because you're coming up against a better classy opposition. But basically, as far as Beale's concerned, and we all know it, he had basically 3 games there to get maximum points to try and exert a bit of pressure onto Celtic and see where it took him. The reason where the negativity is coming from is the manner of the defeat, getting a defeat, and we're only 1 game into the season, we're already 3 points and 3 goals behind them. We only lost 4 games in the entire season last year and lost the league with 7 points. So we've handed the impetus onto them right away, and that's where the negativity is coming from. We're only being honest. He's split the supporters, half the support wants to give him a chance, wants to give him time, but he's not into the job for 2 games. He's been there for 8 months. You know, it's his players, it's his style, it's his football that we're playing now. But it looks as if he's square pegs, round holes, because we're trying to play the same style, the same system as what he implemented last year, but we don't have the same quality player. I can't. We don't have that in the team. Lammers can't dribble the ball the way Kent did. Dessers can't, bully defenders the way Morelos did. Arfield can't. We've no got that guy to replace the Arfield, and that's where our kind of problems is coming from. So it takes time, but it's something that Beale's no got.
Davey, I'll come to Davey next, and then I'll come back to you, Jimmy. Right? I don't know. We don't need maybe bullying defenders, but we don't need this Alfie. We had him that long. We got to get away from that. This is Beale's team, and I think he says he wants to play with pace. I think Lammers can get you up the park. I think he's a skillful player. I think he's got vision. I think it's just taking him a wee. He showed it in flashes, and he was unlucky on Wednesday, Davey. I think Sima maybe settles down. He's got the pace seemingly that might get us by players. I think it looks promising. It's just that we only critiqued the game for last week, and then obviously Wednesday. And I have said I thought Wednesday was a lot better, and I thought we should have probably come away for Ibrox with a lot more goals. But it's Europe, and we'll just have to. That's why I think we'll have to score over there as well. No saying we don't. It could finish nothing each, and it doesn't matter. But I think we'll need to look to go over there, and we're looking to score over there on Tuesday night, regardless.
Yeah, you're spot on, Susie. Spot on. The biggest problem we've got at the moment is try to get the jigsaw puzzle to fit. And the European competition. As far as I'm concerned, that's came far too early for us. And even the league game against Kilmarnock, everyone's just in transition, innit? And it's not just, you can't wave a magic wand and say, right, all you guys get in there and start playing brilliant stuff. It doesn't work like that. So we'll need to be a bit patient and see how it goes. And then 3 or 4 games in there, if we start throwing away things like we did on Saturday, then you've got a grievance. But the new, we're getting too far ahead of ourselves. You can't get on top of these guys yet. It's not fair.
No, I think we were all critical on Saturday, David, because of the performance and that, and it looked like it just looked that much disjointed. And Bridge, we've seen, I mean, the opposition we played pre-season, he's had to move the team about. When we played Hockenheim, he couldn't use the 2 centre-backs because they were ill. It was Davis was out, Suter was out before we actually went to play an actual game. I just think it's about bedding in. It's about getting to know the players and the style and that. But it's down to Michael Beale. The pressure's always going to be there. That's why he took the job. He knows what entails with the job. He's experienced enough. He's been there at Ibrox before under Steven Gerrard, but he's never been this manager. I think the players respect him. I think they'll trust him. But my thinking is that he's got to be fair to all players, and I think maybe somebody like Hadji could have come on earlier on Wednesday night and it might have maybe done something rather than wait towards the end of the game to bring somebody like Hadji on.
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, like we don't know if Hadji's going to be a possible solution to some of Rangers' problems. He's a smashing player. Everybody, shall we say, admires him, but I don't know whether I don't know whether the steps are too high for him and too long. I don't know if he's going to be playing European football for us as a first pick person for this season. I don't know, so I can't argue. But I like Hadji, and I like that boy Dill. I like the boy Lammers. These guys are going to play well. I liked Seema. I thought Seema did well, but sometimes I was pointed out to me. Sometimes he's not that good, and he showed that a couple of times as well. The truth is, every single one of the players are our manager's players. There's no arguing about it now. That's the squad he's got, and that's the team he's picking out of it. Some of them are going to do it, and others just can't do it because they're not getting enough games in. I think for some of these players, it might be closer to the sort of the first cut of the Premier League. It just, you know, the sort of the 11 games. It might take some of these players 10 or 11 games to get fully fit, match fit, and everything to go with it. And then you're going to have a cracking rest of the season. But up till then, it looks as it's going to be chances. It's going to be chances, and hope everybody does it. I think we've played really well the first 20 minutes of the night. I don't know if we'll ever repeat that, but I hope we do. I really did like it.
Jimmy, do you think, when you look at the setup of the shape of the team, do you think this playing narrow and giving the other team width? I know in Scotland we'll not come up against it, but you look at the other night, and if we get through this tie, we're looking at PSV, right? And they play with high and wide wingers. Do you think this is a good way to go with this narrowness and the same up the front, or do you think he's got to look to get a winger out there, somebody to get out in the wing and get to the byline and get the balls cut back?
No, I think he's put all his eggs in the one basket. You know, say you've got Cantwell, so that's Cervantes, Lammers and Raskin, and maybe swap Lammers over for what do you call him, the boy that's failed, the Hadji.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we've not got a place, we've not got anywhere to put the ball out to. You know, even that boy that they're all talking about, Seema. You know, I mean, he's probably, I don't know, they've got him there. He's out of position all the time. The boy just looks awkward. You know, I mean, it's as if they've just put him in for the sake of getting a game. Whether he's came in loan for Brighton or whatever it is he has, with the stipulation that he gets so many minutes. and that's part of the deal. I don't know, because that's happened to us before. But you're right, we need to be able to mix the play up. We need to be able to take on teams and then adapt for pattern of play to suit what the opposition are doing, so as we can counteract that, either with the 11 players that's on the park or having the players on the bench. But we've no go, maybe Matondo, if they see something in him, but apart from about 15 minutes when they come on against West Ham, when they first came there, they thought we'd won a world beater, but after that was it, and it's just not there. You had it with Ryan Kent, Scott Wright, fair enough, but he's not the answer. He's not got that class that we need. Somebody that can turn it on. When Kent first came there, he had it, but then for whatever reason it just all sort of broke up and fell away from him. But we've not got players of that nature. We've not got people that we can put the ball out to them and say run with that and do something. We're all bunched in the centre of the park, totally reliant on Tav, Barisic or Yilmaz to put the ball across. And much as they do it now and again, they've not got the speed. And, to say we're relying on the full-backs running the full length of the park to cross the ball in, that's ridiculous, We've just not got that mix of players there in the... as I say, it's just not there in the...
You'd like to think, we shouldn't be relying on Tav and Borna, but the shape of the team's dictating that, Jimmy, and that's on Michael Beale, and we've got two full-backs, Davy, that are over 30, and they're up, and it's some shift today. Nobody actually believes probably how much they must run in a game when we're on the front foot, and that leaves channels at the back, but going forward, but I don't know if maybe Yilmaz will come in time, maybe D. John Sterling will get a chance, but it's going to be hard to dislodge your captain, Davy. But at the same time, if his performance is on the merit in it, then there shouldn't be any favourites or any sentiment, because this is Michael Beale's job on the line. And if a player's no cutting the mustard and we can all watch it week in, week out, then he better change it, or his head will be on the chopping block, because players, like you said, way back in the past, I didn't want to fling players under the bus. Well, players will fling you under the bus, as he fun out towards the end of last season when he was there, but this is a fresh team and a fresh squad. But he always says that they need to fight for their jersey. So I'm just wondering if the shift that he's giving our two fullbacks at the moment, and if it stays Borner and Tav, it's some shift for another season, especially when the two of them have been carrying injuries for a while and all other period of time.
Yeah, you're spot on. Everybody's points are very valid, very spot on. But see, if you go back to 55, when we won 55, we're talking about Kent and wingers and all that. Kent wasn't always on the wing. He was all over the place. So he had the freedom of the movement, and they were playing as fullbacks, attacking fullbacks, and as you said, you just named it. There's no go at that pace now to do that. So that's how I think he's playing up through the middle, depending on who he's playing against. Because you could see him against Kilmarnock shouting at the other, you get up the park, get up the park. If the guy can't get up the park, what do you do?
Aye, this is why it might be irritational at times and that, but I just think we need to get Cantwell or the park, like he can go on the ball, try and go and create space. Lammers has been sort of in the middle, maybe he needs to get a wee bit movement, but this all comes from instruction for the manager. It's his tactics, but I still think there's a bit of gelling involved, and they'll know when they're making run-off players shooters. I can see there's positivity there, and maybe Cifuentes coming in might be the guy who might break the lines that we've not seen because we don't know much about him.
This is the thing. This is what Cifuentes is bringing to the table, because he's an unknown. We don't know what he's going to be bringing to the table. Remember, Zungu made an impressive debut a couple of seasons ago, and he ended up, getting sent back. Wasn't that good? We're hoping Cifuentes does bed in, and brings his qualities and shows his qualities to the rest of the team, and the rest of the team can kind of feed off him. what I liked about Cantwell the other night is, as I say, he was willing to take responsibility. He's the only guy in the team. It looks like that he's going to take the game to the opposition, and we need that kind of arrogance off most of our team. That they know that they're all kind of playing safe a wee bit, playing their own positions, but they're not really creating a hell of a lot. No movement up front is going to cause issues because of the defensive style that our opponents are playing. So we need to show different, something different out there that the players are going to, their mentality. You need to pick things up. You need to show something different, and that's why I like the likes of Alex Lowry. That's what he was bringing to the table. That other players weren't doing that. Hadji brings that to it. He doesn't bring pace, but he brings inventiveness to watch. Certain runs off the other players. So other players are need to pick up their game to take it to their opponents, get the early breakthrough, and show why you're at the club.
I think a lot of times we've looked as if we're a bit narrow. That's what worries me, Jimmy. I think we've always played with width for most of the times. I know under Gerrard we didn't, because we used the fullbacks and that, but it's a bit predictable for me, and I just think they're aging a bit and they'll not be able to do what they've been doing. But I just hope he's got another. I think Cantwell can get the ball deep, Jimmy. He can go and take it up the park. Lammers can take the ball slightly forward, and I think he can get by a player. I think we've seen that, and he can pick a pass. I think Kieran Dowell probably a wee bit further up the park, picking the ball up and driving. We've seen it at Kilmarnock. He was unlucky, but he took a shot and it took a deflection. I think we've got Raskin can go and also. I think we've got that in our team, but when they're going forward, you don't have the width. You're waiting on the fullbacks getting up there, and I think you might have to change it slightly. I'm hoping that when they get that bit forward, Jimmy, they're putting balls through to Danilo or through to Dessers.
Aye, it's what you're saying is correct, because if the teams are playing with a packed defence and we're relying on 3 or 4 guys in the middle of the park, all with short passes, they're just playing right into their hands. They'll take the ball off you. You're outnumbered all the time. And the defence, using their fullbacks, fair enough, when we done the 55, they were much younger then. They were younger players, fitter players. So there's a chance for that. Yilmaz coming in, Devine coming in, but we've not got him in Tav's position. We've got 2 on the other side of the park, but we've not got him in Tav's position. But as I say, I hope I'm wrong with Beale, but it's just, to me, he's a pattern merchant, and I'd like to see it, the proof of the pudding. I'd like to see him proving me wrong and say, he's one of our greatest managers. But all our great managers didn't do any talking or shouting and bawling. They'll let the results speak for themselves. But the end of the month will give us a better idea. Certainly after the Parkhead mob have came to Ibrox, and then by Christmas we'll have a clear picture of what the story is with it all. But it's not only us that's watching it, it's supporters. The directors are watching it as well. And I don't think that Bennett and that Bisgrove, I don't think they're mugs like. I don't think they'll suffer fools gladly, because there's too much involved in it. They know this story that two trophies in 11 years is totally away. It's not even in the Rangers' radar. We're brought up with teams that won 2 trophies in a season, never mind in 11 years. So one way or the other, it'll sort itself out. But as I say, I just wish he would shut his mouth at times.
Aye, sometimes he's a wee bit saying too much. I agree with you. I used to like listening to Gerrard, and like you said, when you listen back to Walter, Souness, Alex McLeish, they were guarded sometimes in what they said, and you knew when they were raging, and we've all known that they didn't have to go through a player or a team in a dressing room, but it's changed days now with players. You look at the ring while they're away to HR these days. But Bridge, pressure's always going to be on him. He knew what it entailed to do this job. The board have backed him, and I think, as Jimmy says, I don't think Bennett, Bisgrove and the rest of the board will be too happy if he's not performing. He'll be out the door, I think, and that's what will happen, because that's what you'd expect. But we watch performances week in, week out, so we're listening to what he says, and he'll not be able to pull the wool out of our eyes, especially when we're at games and we're watching the same as him.
Yeah, I agree with you, and harking back to some of what Jimmy says, I hope Michael Beale isn't trying to pull the wool over any Rangers fans, because we see it. It's glaringly obvious sometimes. We see it. We see what the players are providing, and yes, there is improvement. And the first 20 minutes there in midweek there, maybe in half an hour, I thought the Rangers played very, very well. Really slick football, lovely passing. Scored 2 goals, but we should have scored over the whole game. We should have scored 4 goals. Unfortunately, we never done it. And all of a sudden, they got a penalty, and it's a different game. So Mr. Beale has got a lot riding on it, on what's happening in these very recent next couple of games. If we don't do anything tomorrow, then it could be the drums will start beating for him to go. And I'm not being funny when I say that. The drums will start beating. The fans will not be happy, and they can't go through another season and blah 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 blah. That's going to happen if he doesn't do it. If he doesn't get through in the European side of things, then there'll be an automatic drop down into the Europa League, and a lot of fans will say, "Well, that's okay, because we're at a level probably nearer the level we should be at." We might not be ready for a European Champions League for a while, in a season or so. But look, I think the team's coming right, and I think the manager's going to make it. I just hope he stops, just like Jimmy says, just stops all the nonsense.
Jimmy, what type of formation do you want to see? Do you think it should be a 4-4-2 for Scotland or the 4-3-3?
I would say 4-4-2 because I don't see him get any options. He's not got the outball. He's not got the players that can. He's not got the players that can hold a ball, that can dribble, that can. He's just no go at that. I would think you're looking at Butland, Tav, Golson, Suter, Barisic, probably maybe swapping Barisic for Yilmaz, and maybe swapping Golson for how much just come back.
Balogun.
Balogun. And then Cantwell, Cervantes, Lammers, Raskin, and Dresser and Daniel up front. And then maybe swapping Lammers from time to time with Hadji. But I don't really know how he's going to fit them in and how he's going to keep them all happy. As I say, and as you have said, he's the one that picked the jigsaw, and he's the one that's putting the pieces in place. So it's down to the manager. He has been well supported, but I think we have to give him a chance. We have to give him a chance to see how it all pans out, and hopefully it will pan out all right. Because there's good football players there. They're not all mugs. He said that they're all this, that, and that one. Even the ones that's not proved it yet, they're still football players. You don't.
Aye, the quality levels went up, Jimmy. We can see that, and even, I know we're a wee bit critical, and some of them are saying, Joe Aribo, when he first came, took a while to settle and all, and then he managed to grasp it, and he could take the ball up the park for you could hold people off, he built himself up, he was stronger. You could see Hadji done that after he's come back, and obviously he's back after an injury. He's got skill on Hadji. I like him. I think you can see things other players can't see. He's not blessed with pace, but he's an intelligent player, but he's got to fight to get in there, and people are just saying, well, the number 10's either Lammers or Cantwell. I agree, Cantwell in that position last season was really good, but I think if you can get the two of them in the team and he's buzzing round about him, and then you've got another player coming off him, and they get that link up with the strikers, then it does look fruitful. I think it looks good, Jimmy. So it's about patience, but you know what it's like. Rangers support have got bipolar. We all have, we just want the best all the time, but we only try and critique what we see at the time of the game. And it wasn't great after Saturday. Tuesday night was a lot better, just apart from the score could have been more. But apart from that, I could see an improvement, Alex. I seen an improvement on Wednesday night for the Saturday, fitness-wise, movement, and just how we started.
Aye, for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, there were definitely improvement there. But you need to keep that going for 90 minutes. And that's where the kind of drive, the mentality, the character of the player, that kind of gets that going. And when it does drop off a wee bit, there needs to be somebody in the team or through the bench that recognises that and make the changes to keep that impetus up. And for me, that's where Beale's failing a wee bit. He's making his subs kind of too late in the game. And what's the point of bringing on Hadji and Wright with 2 minutes to go when they could have been on 20 odd minutes earlier? Hopefully getting that third and fourth goal, which could make all the difference in the second leg. That's where the kind of doubts kind of set in a wee bit with Michael Beale. But let's look forward to tomorrow, and hopefully we get the 3 points to kick off our league campaign.
Yep, 100%. If you're going to the game tomorrow, you need to remember the mad cyclists are out running about Glasgow tomorrow, so there's going to be a lot of roads shut and that getting to Ibrox the usual, so you probably anticipate that heading to the game. So just to make everybody aware that the mad cyclists are still out over Glasgow tomorrow. And Davey, I'll give you the last words before we finish up, and I'll come to Jimmy.
I like the mad side. I've never seen Ox on a bike.
Aye, you watch out for the potholes.
Aye, thanks guys for putting us on tonight. It's always a pleasure. But we just need to be a bit more patient, guys. We're running away ahead of ourselves. I'll be very confident tomorrow, and if we get another improved performance, we're heading in the right direction. So good night, guys, and God bless the Jets.
Right, Davey, thanks for phoning in as always. Get your money on 3-0 tomorrow. Jimmy, I'll give you the last words before we shut the show down, pal.
Aye, the Rangers will get a result tomorrow, probably a good result, probably about 4-0. But just the same as I'm saying about Beale talking, us as supporters, we need to watch what we're putting in social media and what we're saying to radio stations and what we're doing as well, because we're playing right into the hands of the enemy. You know, they're lapping it up. So
100%.
We just need to calm the Jets a wee bit, and then, as I say, by Christmas we'll know exactly where we are.
Yep, certainly will. Thanks, Jimmy, for phoning in as always. I appreciate it, and it's always good to listen to you when you come on, pal.
Right, lads, take care. Good night.
Thanks very much. AK.
Aye, enjoyed the show again, enjoyed the chat. Everybody was made valid points here. Yourself, Bridgeman. Just enjoy the game tomorrow. Hopefully we get the 3 points. Go on, the Rangers.
Bridgeman.
So, thanks very much for being on. Well done. And well done to your techie guys in the background. Of course, Alex Kelly, for carrying me through this. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans all over the world, in particular Rangers fans on here on Rangers Radio, tomorrow, it's a must-win for Rangers, a must-win. I'm going for a 1-0, but it's a must-win. I hope it's 3-0, 4-0, 5-0. I just hope we absolutely murder them. But seriously, we need to come away with a victory. Anything less than that could be troublesome. But anyway, to all the Rangers fans, keep it going for the Rangers. Don't forget, they're our team. Keep it going for them.
Can I just thank you two guys for helping us out tonight on the show? I thoroughly appreciated it, and thanks very much. We'll be back tomorrow with a pre-show at 2 p.m, and I would like to thank Old School Blue and Fox for doing the technicals this evening. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Let's do this tomorrow, Rangers. 3-0, 3 points in the bag.